From an angry gorilla to a rampaging bear, plus a criminal who made a wild escape. Here are 10 times the glass wasn't strong enough. Number 10. Gorilla smashes the glass. If there's one place that you really want the glass to be strong enough, it's at the gorilla exhibit in the San Diego Zoo. And yet, back in 2020, the gorilla exhibit had to be closed after an extremely aggressive gorilla smashed into the glass viewing window and broke it. The moment was captured on video and shared on local news by a family visiting the San Diego Zoo to see the temporary closure during the pandemic. But excitement turned to horror when the unbelievable happened. As the family watched the gorillas running about their enclosure, they seemed to be getting riled up. Then one gorilla attacked another, smashing the second gorilla into the glass with such force that the window smashed. Of course, the gorilla didn't smash all the way out of the glass, otherwise there could have been a much more serious problem and a potential bloodbath. After the enclosure was temporarily closed, the glass was eventually fixed. But the family was very lucky that the glass didn't break all the way. Otherwise, they may have come face to face with a big, powerful, ticked-off gorilla. Number 9. The Willis Tower SkyDeck. Anyone who's visited Chicago has probably checked out the Willis Tower SkyDeck. It's an amazing sightseeing box which extends out from the 103rd floor of the infamous Chicago Tower, attracting roughly 1.5 million visitors every single year. And even though the SkyDeck is designed to hold at least 5 tons of weight, it's still broke. In fact, when a family stepped out onto the glass, it simply shattered. This undoubtedly caused somebody to pee in their pants, at least a little bit. But thankfully only the protective layer broke, not the entire viewing platform. The Willis Tower even told CNN that the family was never in any danger, and that the glass did exactly what it was designed to do. But that didn't make it any less of a horrifying experience for the woman and her 2 kids who must have felt like they almost fell 103 floors to the hard city streets below. And to make things worse, this was not the first time that the SkyDeck broke at the Willis Tower. It happened before in 2014 when a tourist saw lines forming in the glass and immediately jumped from the edge and back into the building. However, representatives say that the man was in no danger when it cracked the first time either. Let's just hope that it never happens again, or at least that the whole thing never shatters, sending a curious family of tourists down to their deaths. Number 8. Broken shark tank. The last thing you want to see break is a shark tank. This is especially true if you're anywhere near it when it happens. And yet the streets in a city in Mexico ended up being flooded after the shark tank in a local aquarium broke, cracked, and released gallons and gallons of water. Emergency services actually needed to be called in when a plane somehow detached from the base of a pool at the Mazatlan Aquarium in Sinaloa. According to the report from the Daily Mail, somehow the acrylic glass detached and then collapsed, causing massive amounts of water to leak out from the shark tank and into the streets. Luckily, the glass only cracked, it didn't shatter completely. This meant that none of the sharks or other fish inside of the aquarium were able to escape and go on a murderous rampage. Still, it was a huge disaster. The aquarium had to be closed to the public, the streets were filled with aquarium water, and everyone was pretty disturbed. But to make this incident even worse, the director of the aquarium had apparently warned that this could happen. He'd been asking for structural reviews of the building and the attractions, but it just never got done. The result of this gross negligence was that an entire tank full of sharks and fish nearly died, and the streets got flooded with gross fish poop water. Number 7. One powerful wrist shot. Aquariums and zoos are not the only places that you expect the glass to stay strong. Another extremely important place that the glass should never break is at a hockey game. But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. An NHL game from a few years ago ended up causing the plexiglass around the rink to shatter when a wrist shot went astray during a Florida Panthers game. The Panthers had been facing off against the visiting Detroit Red Wings when a wrist shot sent a puck sailing straight into the glass. It hit with such unbelievable force that the glass shattered and maintenance crews had to immediately tend to the issue. This is a big deal because the glass is there to protect the fans. Imagine if that wrist shot had sailed through the open air and hit a fan right in their face. There's so much force behind that puck that it could easily break a person's jaw or even collapse their eye socket. Injuries from rogue hockey pucks are nothing to sneeze at. Luckily for the Panthers, they did end up winning this game. But it wasn't lucky for the fans who had premium seats behind the shattered glass, as they all had to move out of the way. But it's definitely better to be displaced than to take a puck to the face. Number 6. Bear shatters glass with a rock. Gorillas aren't the only beasts strong enough to shatter glass. At a zoo in Minnesota, a bear managed to break the glass barrier back in 2015 by using a rock. This might be the smartest grizzly bear in history. According to the animal collection manager from the zoo, they had cleared the grizzly exhibit of all objects that bears could carry. This was done for the exact reason that the bears sometimes throw rocks. However, one of the grizzlies must have dug the rock out of the ground, which ended up being the size of a basketball. Not a baseball, but a basketball. So once the bears went on display early in the morning, one of the bears dug out the rock and, in a fit of rage, threw it at the security glass. At first, it seemed as if the glass wouldn't hold. There were 3 bears wrestling and fighting in the pool, with the grizzly bear trying to break through the glass using the giant boulder. As you can imagine, the people in attendance were terrified. Because not only did the bear throw the rock once, he picked it up and threw it again, absolutely determined to smash his way through the glass and get to the people taking photos of him with their cameras. Of course, the glass broke but didn't shatter completely. After all, the safety barrier is made of 5 special glass layers that are pretty much indestructible when put together. According to the animal experts, bears apparently just like to destroy things. They keep themselves busy in the exhibit by finding things to destroy when they're not busy fishing trout out of the pool. If they get a hold of tools, they turn into wrecking balls. Number 5. Escaping criminal. Sometimes criminals have to make desperate escapes. It's just part of the business of being a criminal. A man named Scott Morris was recently charged with breaking and entering and misdemeanor criminal damaging after he broke into a public library in the city of Akron. You have to be a pretty horrible criminal to break into a library, and nobody has any idea what he was trying to steal. However, police responded to the break-in at around 6:30 in the morning, where they found glass smashed at the front main doors and could see the man moving around inside. But here's where the broken glass really comes into play. When the police entered the Akron Summit County Public Library to apprehend this guy, he lost his mind. In a mad attempt to escape, he tried to smash his way out of the south-facing side door. But this turned out to be a very bad idea, as the glass proved a little bit too tough for this criminal. Police found him lying on the carpet and bleeding out due to lacerations that were caused when he smashed through the door. He had cuts all over his hands and arms, gashes on his forehead, and other general injuries. The moral of the story here is that if you're going to be breaking glass, try not to do it with your body. Number 4. Terror in the sky. China is famous for a lot of reasons. They have a giant army, they're one of the only communist nations left on Earth, they have an amazing wall that's thousands of years old, and they have a whole lot of glass walkways. There are literally dozens of random glass walkways all throughout the country of China. But with so many glass walkways being built, one of them was bound to break. And that's exactly what happened when a newly opened glass walkway cracked while tourists were walking on it. This walkway was suspended 3,500 feet over a canyon, and it spanned at least 1,300 feet from one side to the other. It was built in the Yuntai Mountain Scenic Park, but nobody expected it to break within just days of it opening. According to the report from USA Today, the incident happened because a sharp object fell on the glass. If you ask me, that's a pretty horrendous design flaw. Your glass probably shouldn't be breaking just because of a sharp object. But of course, nobody ended up dying. The bridge did have 3 panes of tempered glass, and only the top pane was cracked. But that didn't stop tourists from panicking and freaking out and taking their rage onto social media. After the incident, the bridge was closed, and it's awaiting repairs. Number 3. Lion Staring Contest. A 2-year-old boy recently lost the most important staring contest of his life. It happened at the Chiba Zoological Park in East Tokyo when the boy decided that it was a good idea to challenge a lion to a staring contest. The lion agreed to the contest, looked deep into the boy's eyes, and sat down on his stomach. Little did the young boy know that the lion was actually planning on eating him. After the boy got sick of the staring contest and turned around, the lion tried to pounce. But of course this happened at a zoo, so the lion smashed into the glass wall instead. Luckily, the glass rattled but didn't smash, and the child would live another day. According to the zookeepers from the Japanese zoo, that particular lion already had a tendency of becoming agitated around small children. However, the zoo officials said that the lion, even though it weighed over 400 pounds, did not get agitated because it wanted to eat the children, but simply because it wished to play with them. But whatever the case, I doubt a little boy would survive a play date with a fully grown lion. Number 2. Disney Castle Shatters. Imagine building a glass replica of a Disney castle over the course of 500 hours, spending $64,000 to bring the amazing piece of artwork to life, only to have it be smashed by a bunch of rotten kids. This is exactly what happened in the Shanghai Museum of Glass in China. The Disney Glass Castle was one of their prized exhibits, but maybe they should have built it out of a stronger glass. When a couple of kids got a little too excited and started horsing around near the exhibit, they ended up breaking it. According to the report from Travel and Leisure, the 2 children climbed over the barriers while their parents weren't looking, and knocked into the glass case that held the huge glass model of the castle. It was basically like hitting a domino set. A small part of the model fell and shattered, and the castle broke. As you can imagine, the parents were mortified, probably more worried about their wallets than anything else. The moral of the story this time is that kids are basically demons. Besides just costing a fortune and taking hundreds of hours to build, the castle also weighed around 132 pounds, was constructed with over 30,000 pieces, and was even decorated in 24-karat gold. Number 1. Glass door of the sheriff's office. Our last story takes us back to the criminal underworld. Well, it's not that dramatic, but it is a pretty funny story that involves a whole lot of broken glass. A man recently rammed into a patrol car in Jefferson County right before breaking the glass window at the sheriff's headquarters. Now, maybe it's just me, but I feel like the glass door of the sheriff's office should definitely be able to withstand an angry criminal. But apparently not. According to the local news report, the irate man rammed into a marked patrol car with his truck, then got out of his vehicle and used a silver bar to smash out the entrance of the police station. Of course, he didn't get very far. You can't just smash out the window of a police station and expect not to be arrested immediately. Apparently, he'd been attempting to throw objects through the broken glass door that would have lit the station on fire, and so he was ultimately booked on charges of possession of explosives and criminal mischief. As for what kind of motive this guy had for pulling such an outrageous stunt, nobody really knows. But in any case, hopefully the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office invests in some tougher glass. If a measly criminal can get in, what would they ever do in a zombie apocalypse? Have you ever run into a glass-breaking situation yourself? Let me know about it in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and come back soon for another amazing video right here on American Eye.